Hello, welcome back to A Spiritual Ascension, my 5-year journey. If you're just coming into this video for the first time, I'm telling a chronological story. So please go back to the intro video, which is in a separate playlist, um, and start from there, because it's kind of telling my whole entire 5-year journey. Um, so when I left off, I had been, excuse me, got some water over here. I had, I got to a point of being in desperation, of not knowing what I was going to do for that night. Um, since I had left the house I was staying at, um, which was April 30th of 2023, I just went out into the night and not having any direction. And ended up having to be out on the street all night. That was the first time that had ever happened to me. But there's also this feeling like I was thinking that there's this initiation point, and I felt like that was that initiation. Up until that point, there was seemed that I was being prepared for this. Okay, everything that was happening, um, the money that was Spirit was providing for me was only limited so that I wouldn't stay where I was. And then sometimes like on your journey, things like that happen so that you can be pushed forward. Um, the next night, I ended up staying in the emergency room, waiting room, um, all night just to be within some kind of shelter because it was probably about 50 degrees or so, but at night it was just cold, and I didn't have good, I didn't think ahead of that I was going to be out in the weather, be out in the rain and cold or anything. So Monday, that was Monday, right? Monday night, yeah, I stayed in the ER waiting room. So now it's Tuesday, and I went over to the library and stayed there all day. And then later on, if you've been following along, um, a friend contacted me that I had been speaking to for a couple months. And I had known him for 13 years ago. I had met him, and we had lost contact. And all of a sudden, he kind of showed up back in my life. And so that's why it's important. I wasn't going to let him kind of come back and talk to him. We were just kind of having a conversation. But I said to myself, I said, there's a reason why he's here all of a sudden. And as the title of that video is called, The People Who, what did I name that one? The People Who You Meet Along the Way. Um, there's a reason. So pay attention to those who come into your life. Not to say that everyone coming into your life during that time is going to be a blessing to you or help you along your route, but there may be a reason for that person being there at that time. And that's happened since that time, many times, other times, which I'll get into later on. So he had sent me $100 and I was able to I found the cheapest hotel room that was decent. And that took me to another town. Um, I hadn't eaten like in 2 days. So the first thing I headed for, I think it was like Burger King or something like that. That was right next to the hotel. And trying to kind of conserve my money. Um, went to bed that night just being so thankful that I had a warm bed, to sleep in and just to be able to relax. Because another thing I don't think people realize is for those who are homeless or out on the street or anything like that, and I'll probably talk about that later on along my journey, there's no rest, because you're always on the go. You're always, looking over your shoulder, watching your back. Those of us who have homes to go home to, we can relax, we can put our feet up, we can watch TV, whatever it may be. We can cook our food, our meals. And I don't know if this is the lesson I'm going to say that Spirit wanted to teach me in this lifetime. As I told you guys before, that this young gentleman had come in when we were doing practice sessions on psychic readings, come in, made a beeline for me into the session and say, I need to do a reading for you. And I was like, okay. And he said to me specifically, he said, you're going to be doing work with homeless women. And I didn't know what that meant. And I really hadn't, I had donated clothes before, but I didn't know what that meant. And so I thought maybe I'll be working, doing spiritual work with homeless women. I didn't realize I was going to become one of them. Um, so kind of was like, people go say, go undercover to kind of understand the deeper parts of a underground society, or they do that in, like, you see these movies, infiltrate like a gang or whatever it may be, to try to get what's going on deep within the organization, or what I'm saying. So it kind of felt like that, like I was doing this research of what it was like to be homeless. Anyway, slept well that night. Just, I had to wash out my clothes because it had been 2 days already. I've been wearing the same clothes, and I didn't have any other clothes. I had only the clothes on my back. If you know anything about tarot and know the first major arcana card in the tarot deck is the Fool card. And the Fool just kind of goes out. That's exactly what my energy is. Takes a leap of faith that, they're going to be guided, and they have really nothing with them. And as I already told you, I have brought clothes, with extra clothes with me. I had all my notebooks and things, and I ended up getting rid of everything except for I had my backpack with my laptop and my iPad and a few other little things. And then I had just a cross body bag that I had my wallet in. Um, but it was this full energy of just taking this leap of faith that I was going to be guided where I needed to be. So I got up the next morning and kind of just laid around because I had until 11 o'clock to check out. And I didn't have any notebooks now. And I'm a big journal. How do you say that? Journal. I love journaling. Anyway, like I have to journal every day. Like that's part of my meditation, I would say. It's just kind of journaling my thoughts. And I always tell all of my clients to journal because you never know what you're gonna go through that you can refer back to, like this happened before, or like, like that you could just refer back to things. I didn't have a journal. So in that area that I was, there was a lot of stores, restaurants. There was a Lowe's, um, home. What do you call those? Like home, like a Home Depot, but it was Lowe's. There was a Walmart nearby. Another shopping center, but it was kind of across the highway, and I didn't want to have to cross over there. But I said, what I'll do is I'll go to Walmart and get, I had enough money to get a, well, because he had sent me money to get like just a thin notebook. I think they sell them for like $1 or something like that because I just needed to write. So at 11 o'clock, I started walking back towards Walmart, and there's a little shopping center on the way. And in that shopping center was the Lowe's. There was a Panera there and like a workout place. And then I said, "Oh, Panera." And Panera is open pretty late. So I said, "Well, I can go there." They don't care. They love for people to come and just sit and drink coffee. I see people working on having meetings in there when I used to go, just to have lunch or something previously. Um, so I said, I'll go over there afterwards. So I went to Walmart, and as I'm going into the doorway, I see this machine on the side, like you can sell your old phone and get money. And I'm like, oh my God. I said, I have my old iPhone on me. And then I have no idea why I decided to take that with me when I left. It had a lot of information still in it. So that's probably the reason why I took it with me. But I'm like, the thought came as I'm walking through Walmart, and I went and got a notebook. Um, I think I had to get like deodorant or something. Like I don't know. I think I didn't have, there was something else little I remember getting. So I left Walmart and I went to Panera and I got something to eat there. Because probably at this point, after the hotel and taking the Uber, I may have had like $20 left. Um, so I looked up the name, the machine that was in Walmart, like what you needed to do. And there's a website you can go online and they'll tell you how much your phone is worth. So I think it came up that it was going to be worth like $115. So it's like, oh my goodness. I said, that's great. I can get another hotel room tonight at the same hotel. So I cleared out my phone. I forget what you call it when you take all the information off your phone, and got it ready. I walked back over there and I did the whole process of, putting the phone into the machine and it kind of, I don't know, looks at it and everything. And it said, yeah, I think before I left, sorry, I'm going back and forth here. Before when I was in Panera, I had already signed up my phone to get processed. So they said, okay, you're like guaranteed this $115. So when I went back, I had like a code and then I put that code in and they sent it, I think, to like my PayPal account, the $115. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe like I have this money now, and that, all right, I can get another night um, at the hotel. So I stayed at Panera till I think I check-in time was around 3 o'clock. And I left Panera then and I went back to the hotel and checked in at 3. And just again, so thankful that like things are working out somehow. Um, my friend called me, he's like, are you okay? So forth and so on. I'm like, yeah, I was able to sell my phone. I got another hotel room and it's all going to be here another night. It was just nice to have all that time from 3 o'clock now up until the next day at 11 o'clock just to relax. That area there, when as a kid, I had always been in that area. And when I realized it, I was near a main highway and I was so weird. I think about it now. So I had told you guys that my son had been killed in a car accident, and the highway where I was near to um, was the exact location of where the accident happened. So there was, from where I was, if you cross over the bridge there and look down at the highway, you can see the spot where he was killed at. If hopefully you're understanding that. So I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is like really weird. And I kind of got to sense that, as I told you before, I had said my goodbyes to my hometown, to the town where I had got married at, where my ex had lived. Like that whole area is like I had to say it, like saying goodbye, like I was never going to come back there. And now I was in the area where my son had passed away at. And it's like there was this process of saying goodbye to these areas, these situations. Um, like that's where my whole upbringing was around that area. Anyway, um, I don't want to make this one too long. I left the hotel, so now we're talking about that was Tuesday night, and then so we're now on Wednesday, I think. Yeah, because he gave me the money for Tuesday night hotel, and now I paid for Wednesday night. So now when I get up the next morning, it's Thursday, and I don't have enough money now to get a hotel room, and um, I don't know what to do. So I had gone over to Panera, and um, I got something to eat, and I just kind of ended up staying there like all day. And he had contacted me, and he says, "Well, um, I'll try to send you money later on, but like I'm not sure, like, however he had his money set up, he would have to take it out of a different account. He says he didn't have like money on hand like that. And the thing was, I didn't want him to keep, like I can't keep asking him for money. And Panera was closing at 10 o'clock that night. Um, so I was waiting there to see if he would respond. And he didn't get back to me. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know this area at all. Like, as far as it's a whole different, like you go to your nearest Walmart or Lowe's or whatever, you park your car, you go in, you go out. When you're homeless without anywhere to go, you see things through a whole different way of being. And it's more like looking for like little corners or little hideaways that where can I stay for the night, you know? I ended up walking because Walmart, I think, is open till 11 or 12 or something. And I'm walking over to Walmart and I said, I wonder, okay, this is my crazy brain here. I wonder if I go into the bathroom and they shut down. Like, will they find me in the bathroom? Like, maybe I could just stay in the bathroom all night. And, I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to be out in the cold again either. So I just felt like that wasn't right. I felt there was this feeling like I was supposed to stay outside again. And it was more of a spiritual thing. So, as I told you that first night, there was this shaking within me. And it was kind of like I said, this initiation. And I kind of had that feeling again, like spirit pushing me to go back outside. Like I needed to go and stay outside again that night. So I left Walmart and I'm kind of walking through the parking lot. Um, I ended up like kind of, there was a fence that was kind of hidden by the parking lot. And I said, well, maybe I can kind of duck down here. But then I heard people like walking right by that area. And I had seen some other homeless people around and I was kind of like, I don't know if this is a good idea or not. So I got up and I feel like I was being pushed. No, that's not a good area. So I got up and I continued to walk around and I ended up in the back of Lowe's. And they had these piles of sod because now we're in May, so people are going to be planting and stuff. And he had these really high piles of sod grass um, in plastic on pallets, like stacked, like rows and rows and rows of them um, in the back parking lot of Lowe's. And I'm like I don't know where else to go. So I ended up going between the aisles were really thin, like skinny of the sod piles. And I kind of ended up kind of sitting down between them. But then I noticed that the cars coming this way, the lights were like shining right on me. So I'm like, okay, this is not a good spot. It's like you really realize like how difficult it is for homeless people, especially someone who has never been in that situation, who is all alone, has always had like a home to go to. And now they're in this difficult situation. Like, I don't know what this is about. I've never experienced this. So I went to a different aisle and I ended up sitting down between the two sod piles and had put something down, to sit on. I had my two wraps and I kind of put those over my legs and around me, over my head, just to keep warm. And right, it's probably now around 11 o'clock at night. And I'm going to leave it there. And I'll go into more of that in the next video, okay? That was a difficult one, guys. um, like I say, I've never told anyone else this. It's like spirits telling me it's time for you to tell your story so that others that are on this journey are going to be on this journey. Your story is probably going to be so much different than mine. This was what my ascension was supposed to be about. Going through this difficulty. This is what my soul needed to go through in this lifetime to experience this. Your soul is probably going to experience something much different and in a different way in some other difficult situation. Um, but by me telling you this story, it's helping you to understand that possibly your soul needs to learn some kind of lesson in this lifetime, and possibly it's from a past life experience or something like that. And this all seemed to center around homelessness. And like I told you in the beginning, this guy told me that you're going to be working with women, homeless women. No idea what that meant. And then I never thought I was going to be in that situation. Okay. Leave it there. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. If you would like to spend time with me talking about your own journey, there's a link below if you would like a reading, and I will see you in the next one.